Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this Q&A. Let's begin with some questions that weren't quite asked, but I feel like they need answers regardless. So, first question we got today. Can you define the tiers that we see at the end of your review videos? Okay, guys, so this is kind of easy to explain. So you've seen these tier lists and I'll shove at the end of these videos, right? Like, oh, you see like Diamond and Pearl in the lowest tier for some reason, right? And just like, well, the game's not that bad. And let's say Platinum, it's could have been a little higher. So what if right now I tell you what these tiers actually are? So from the bottom, the lowest tier is bad. These are games that I just find a little irredeemable because they have some glaring flaws that make the game basically unplayable. Whether or not it's buggy beyond belief or the game design is just really not great. This would be the games that are rated 0 out of 10 to 2 out of 10. They can still be fun, but I wouldn't say they're greatly designed games. Next up are 2 out of 10 or higher through the 4 out of 10 or higher tier. This, of course, is the lacking tier. These games have issues in terms of their quality. These games are fun to play. I wouldn't say any of these are quote unquote good, because they have way too many design decisions that are either holding them back or just preventing them from doing something that they should have been doing. And these games typically either fall short of good or fall short of bad. It really just depends on where they land on the spectrum. Next up is the tier, like the area between 4 out of 10 and 6 out of 10. This is the good tier. This one shouldn't require that much explaining. These games are typically just good, but not great or anything better, you know? Like, yeah, they have their strengths, and those strengths can be really good sometimes, but they also, of course, have some very deep flaws that they don't kill the game like the lacking tier, but I wouldn't quite say that they're the greatest in the world. None of that nonsense. Next up, the 6 out of 10 through the 8 out of 10 tier. This is the great tier. These are the games that I would consider great. Whether they just do a great job of being an example of how to do a series formula correctly, or just being generally a great game by just normal means. It somewhat falls short of perfect just due to games like design or certain aspects of it, but they're honestly not bad at all. They're really good. And of course, the 8 out of 10 tier or higher are the near perfect games. So this one's a little self-explanatory. These are the games that are just so damn good that they're basically perfect or really close to it. But overall, games typically aren't bad and can always be fun. That's why the tiers are the way they are, where there's barely anything for bad games. The next question that I pre-provided is, what is the deal with the old content on the channel? So this one requires a little bit of explaining, but here's the deal, right? The channel going forward is going to be basically only review style content from here on out. It's very constructive. I find it very fun and fulfilling to do, so that's what it is. All the other videos, other ones such as Q&A for example, these I promised back a while ago I was going to do these every 6 months. Now I want to do them in every December. Just a nice little way to recap each year. It's pretty neat, I suppose, and it's not too intrusive on what's the main outline is for the channel going forward. So there's other stuff on the channel like the challenge run content for instance, or the tier list. At some point, I'm going to unlist those videos. I've already started doing so with the Platinum Nuzlocke series, and somewhere down the line, once the channel has a little more content on it, I will just slowly and surely just start unlisting those other videos. I think the only ones that will stay will be the 100 Reasons Why I Love Heart Gold and Soul Silver, the Do's and Don'ts video, and the 2 terrible PowerPoint presentation videos will also be staying on the channel, maybe temporarily, who knows. But everything else that I'm planning on unlisting, you can find it in a playlist folder on the channel, titled Other Content. But if you are a fan of that content, consider subscribing to one of my other channels called Kermit 117 Live. Again, stuff like the Nuzlocks, the other tier lists and whatnot would just be coming back, but new and other nonsense. Think of this as just like a continuation, but elsewhere, while also being a bit of a time capsule. Alright, next question. Why is this video being released in January of 2022 rather than December 2021 like the title suggests? Time. Let's just say, despite everything I did, it basically all came down to a poor management of time. See, my initial plan was during December, finish the Let's Go video, which was finished by the way, do this, and my next upload all during December, and let's just say that did not quite happen as it was supposed to. Needless to say, my time management was just fine, but the window itself in which all these were supposed to go up was what became a little problematic. Again, you will see that on the next video before January lets out though. That's a promise. Scheduling's one thing, but I'm gonna bring it up in this next segue anyways. So on the topic of that, the next question is, will you review other games in the future, i.e. not Pokemon? This is a yes and a no. So no in the regards of I don't want it to be my primary focus right now. Will I cover other games? Absolutely. But it's mostly just like dependent on time and whatnot. I want to flesh out all the main series Pokemon games before I like get hard committed to another series in terms of making review style content for. So for example, let's just say I might have a video planned for February, which is probably going to release in March if I want to be honest, but let's just say it's not a Pokemon video and is something else of a new game from a different series. I'm fine to talk about Pokemon like all I want, but there's a point in time where it becomes a little stale, just a little bit. About something else is just a nice refresher. For content, I already mentioned that Let's Go Pokemon Battle Revolution being the spinoff, right? And this video are taking up my time slots for January, which is fine. But for February, I have 2 full-blown reviews planned for that month, which, yeah, Legends Arceus, right? I didn't expect to have that game either during that time frame, but it's coming, which of course is my main upload and my biggest focus once the game comes out. But then there's another video which I'll remain anonymous for now. Let's just say I want to talk about Black and White 1 and 2 in March. Probably won't happen at the same month, but we'll see. I have a few plans to talk about Generation 3 as well later down the year. Do I want to talk about the Mystery Dungeon spin-offs too? Yeah, absolutely. So for those other series, in case you're interested, games I would like to talk about would be game series like Smash Bros. Games, Halo because, well, history with them, and most importantly, Paper Mario because just the evolution of a series from something so well beloved to something that's kind of hated now. It's just an evolution that's just fun to talk about, even if it gets really negative for no reason. Alright guys, so the rest of these questions are submitted by the viewers. So round of applause for everyone involved here. So let's begin. What's your favorite Pokemon? I really like Scolipede. It's just cool. But nowadays, it's becoming such a normie pick where I kind of don't even want to say it. So I think my favorite one right now is probably Scorch. He's shaped like something kind of inappropriate. That's all. He's just shaped like a roll of protection, and that's honestly the funniest thing ever. If you don't get it, then that's good. Stay pure. The next question, what's the worst generation of Pokemon and why is it not Generation 5? Well, to answer that, you'll have to stay tuned for my review series whenever it gets around to that point in time. But just in overall, since I kind of did a tier list on the games a while back, like bottom 2 for sure would be Generation 1 or 2. Which one? Well, we'll see. Say it's mostly dependent on the generation, and of course Generation 5 has just solid gameplay all around, where I just don't think there's any way in hell that it could be the bottom 2 games. Here's another fun Pokemon-related question. Which Pokemon would I give an evolution to? Ledian. Pokemon that I would like to give evolution to would include the likes of Ledian, Magcargo, Drifblim, and even Araquanid. Listen, I just think all these Pokemon are pretty cool, but it'd be cool if they got a little bit of something else, you know? Araquanid pretty much just lacks on every stat regard as a pretty mid Pokemon. Yes, it's really good with water, but that's just it. It's pretty mediocre in most other regards. Ledian's just really terrible, same can be said for Magcargo. I would love to see these things get absolutely improved. More on Ledian later. And Drifblim, I think it's cool, but it'd be better if it just had a little more statage going on through an evolution. And hey, you know, if he got an evolution, you could run Eviolite with him, so that'd be an even better buff to make him a significantly better defensive mon. Next question is, what would you change about any bad Pokemon to make them better? This is a really good question, but this is how I would personally go about it. Personally, I would buff Ledian. I would first say I would like to give it an additional 47 HP, which would buff it up to 92. I think Ledian's just incredibly frail. I think with this, it would actually be a little more likely to survive some more attacks off of its pretty good special defense. Speaking of its special defense, let's increase that by 5, bring it up to 115. Listen, it's just a little lacking. Let's just improve it just a wee bit. Speaking of a little lacking, how about that special attack? Let's bring that up from 55 to 80. Here's the problem. Ledian's a special attacker. Even with Iron Fist, its physical sets are completely abysmal. So we're going to increase its special stat just by a little bit, make it a little more especially offensive, and yeah, it will do an okay job with its special sets. Speaking on its physical attack, I want to buff it by 135. Yes, we're bringing that attack stat straight up to 170. Listen, man, it's just incredibly frail. I think with this, its Iron Fist sets can actually be somewhat decent and might give it a niche in OU, keyword a niche. But with that said, it's still physically incapable of taking a hit. So let's take that 50 defense and buff it up to 115. So we're adding on an additional 65 here. So the deal here is that Ledian is just obscenely abysmal in terms of its physical defense. A light breeze can push it over for the most part. And yeah, let's just buff it to be a little more defensive. Flying's a okay-ish defensive typing, but the bug part really hinders it. So giving it physical defense that's on par with its special defense really just helps get the ladybug part across. It's got that little bit of shell, I guess. And for the speed, I say we give Ledian an additional 63 speed. This will buff its speed up to 148. which will allow it to outrun massive threats like Alakazam and punish it extremely hard. Listen, Ledian Space 85 speed's decent, but obviously we know speed is the most power-crept stat in the entire game. At least with the Choice Scarf, it can do a better job at handling Aleki and other critters as well. But basically, here's the thing, that's what I would do for the stats. We haven't even got to the move pool or ability yet. So first off, I suggest we throw out Swarm for its ability, and we give it something similar to Intimidate, except instead of dropping the opponent's stage by 1, it increases yours by 1. Listen, I think it would help Ledian with its abysmal attack stat significantly more, because like 170 is just outlandish, man. Like Mega Heracross has this thing outclassed. Come on. This would help give it a little more of a niche in contrast to other bug types. In terms of typing, I'd say Bug Flying, let's just throw that out right now. Let's make it Steel Fairy. Listen, man, there's a reason Steel Fairy is a pretty good offensive typing. It's one of the best defensive typings around. You don't have that Stealth Rock weakness, and most importantly, this is the type of Mega Mawile and Magearna, which are some of the most broken Pokemon ever conceived. And for attacks, I'd say we give it stuff like Sacred Sword, Close Combat, give it an attack like Dynamax Cannon, but make it a physical steel move. I think it's a little bit interesting. Give it fun stuff like Play Rough, Moonblast. It has all sorts of fun shenanigans to pull from. And of course, considering since this thing would have an evolution based on the last question, hey, guess what this thing can do? It can run Eviolite to be even bulkier. I think this would make Ledian a pretty decent Pokemon all around, where it might be a little outclassed within the confines of OU, but I think it'd be pretty nice. And the final Pokemon related question is, should I start fake shiny hunting beef? No, you should not. No, you should not start fake shiny hunting beef. No, nor should anyone. It's just not worth it and it's kind of embarrassing. Moving on. Our normal questions will flesh out basically the rest of this video. What is your favorite animated show? Like, I really just don't watch television or movies anymore, so it's kind of hard for me to have a say-so in this. I just don't watch animated shows at all anymore, because I just don't watch television. So, my answer is I have no clue. I can't answer that. Moving on, what's the best pizza topping? Listen, man, I think pizza is such a sacred food that basically any topping works on it just fine. Yo, you want to put pineapple on it? By all means. Pepperoni? Go ahead. You want to put peas and mayonnaise on it? Guess what? Go ahead and do that. It's your pizza. Eat it how you want. But which one would I say is the best? I think it's pineapple because it just gets pizza enjoyers really talkative about pizza, which is something they obviously enjoy. So hearing them just talk about something fun like that and their passion for pizza and why something should or shouldn't be allowed on it, I think that's pretty neat. Speaking of something fruit related, next question is, what's your favorite fruit and why is it bananas? Bananas are pretty cool, man. That's why. Plus monkeys. Also, bananas are kind of shaped funny. That's it. That's all you gotta know, boys. The next question is, what's your favorite movie that's not Cars 3? See, here's the problem, right? I was gonna say Cars 3, but then you had Cars 3 at the end. So that's not quite gonna work out. But, again, based on what I said about the animated show question, I don't really watch movies anymore. I really don't. But I think my favorite movie so far has been the new Mario movie with Chris Pratt as Mario, despite the fact it's not even released yet. I think that's my favorite movie. You didn't say what was my favorite one to watch. You know, speaking of gaming related questions now, why was Sora the best DLC character for Smash Ultimate? He absolutely was not. Dude, listen, man, we had better characters in the DLC for Smash Bros, man. We had a gaming icon that is Minecraft Steve. We had Sephiroth, man. He basically saved Final Fantasy from being this absolute underrepresented series in Smash Bros. Hell, we even had Violet from the best-selling Fire Emblem game of all time so far, and the best one in my opinion. And of course, we had the greatest gaming icon of all time put in the game too, being Piranha Plant. So how is Sora even remotely in contention for the title of best DLC character? It's easy, because he's not. Why was Sora a better addition than Waluigi? He's not. Waluigi may have a negative meme status attached to his name, but Sora doesn't even have one. So I think that says it all. The next question. Why haven't you downloaded the free Metroid Dread demo now available for the Nintendo Switch yet? Listen, when this question was submitted, I didn't want to because I had no interest in the game. But of course, in December, I decided, hey, maybe I will play it because we made a bet. And then, skill issue. Let's just say that. I don't plan on buying the game at all. I could care less about Metroid Dread. I do like the design gimmick of the game, but I definitely do not want to play it because what's the point of exploring in a game that encourages exploring when there's a giant lingering death box that's out to kill you at all times? It's just not that fun. It's just not thrilling enough for me personally. Next question, how are you? Well, I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Honestly, I think 2022 is going to be a fun year to mess around with. Sure, it'll have its hardships, but I'll get there when I get there. As for now, I'm looking forward to what this year is going to bring. The next question is, thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy? First off, I know specifically in the context of this question, it's talking about the game, but the movie, absolute banger, and like a genuine classic. But as a game, I think it should have had an extra Game of the Year award. It should have taken the one from Metroid Dread, honestly, but that's besides the point. Next question is, who are you voting for Content Creator of the Year? Nobody. See, here's the problem with the Game Awards, right? Every single person they nominated for Content Creator of the Year, I only have heard of one of them. Because I'm not really an esports guy, right? The only one I'd heard of was Dream. But I just don't care enough to vote for him. The next question is, how goes Tinder? Have you made accounts on other apps? First off, Tinder's not been the most thrilling experience in the world. I have seen somebody on there I've met before. I think that was pretty interesting of an experience. But overall, I haven't really matched with many people. And that's basically what it came down to. And the second part of that question, have you made accounts on other apps? I did, but I stopped caring, so I got rid of those accounts. Because people aren't flocking towards that one for meme status, right? Like, oh, you gotta use one of these apps, you have to use Tinder, man. If you use any other one, you're just dumb. Next question is, favorite Halo Infinite map? I still haven't played the multiplayer yet, but I would say it's probably one of the big team battle maps. Just pick one, alright? Just pick the one with the trees. I think that one works, the green one. The next question is, when will you play a Persona game from the real trilogy? I don't plan on playing Persona 2, I don't plan on playing the other Persona 2, or playing the original Persona game. So I'm just not going to. I guess, like, if I'm going to touch the series, it'll probably be Persona 4 Golden. I mean, plus, if I want to play a Mega 10 game, I have SMT4 right there. I can just play that instead. The next question is, can you end this video with the JoJo to be continued arrow? Can I? Yes. Do I want to? Will I? No. The next question is, did you vote for the Glow Squid? No, I didn't vote for him. Thank you for asking. Here's another fun Minecraft-related question. How do I beat the Ender Dragon? You can easily destroy him with beds. And the final question, guys, when's the Guilty Gear Strive stream? I have no interest on streaming Guilty Gear Strive on my Twitch. Go follow that if you haven't, if you like live stream content. You know, actually seeing it live. I'm not going to stream on YouTube ever. That's where you want to go if you want to catch me live. And that's about it. Congrats, guys. That's this year's Q&A. But guys, if you like what you saw, leave a like, subscribe if you still haven't somehow. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one.